Behind the Guitar is brought to you by the Martin Guitar Foundation, RCN, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Recorded live from the campus of Steel Stacks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, our host, Craig Thatcher.
Welcome to Behind the Guitar. Tonight's artist is best known as an original member of the Byrds, being one of the key pioneers of country rock. Please join me as we go behind the guitar with Chris Hillman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Real pleasure to have you. Why don't you just start off with one of your fantastic songs?
It's called Forgiveness. Obviously, a song that was written after a little tiny disagreement with my wife. We've been married 36 years. She's up for sainthood. Okay, living with me. Forgiveness is the word I want to live by. It's been a long time since I heard those words spoken. I've had a long time to learn goodbye. I've had a long time to heal a heart that's been broken. Forgiveness is the word I want to live by. How can this be? You want to surrender? I'll admit I want the same, and we'll leave the past behind, let old flames turn to cinder. Forgiveness is a word I want to live by. Loving you is the words that make it right. Holding on, taking one more chance. We can only say goodbye before we find that perfect circumstance to remind us who we are tonight. So tonight, say the word, I'll have an answer. Tonight, we'll start all over again. You won't be the dancer, I won't be the dancer. Forgiveness is the words I want to live by. Loving you is the words that make it right. Forgiveness is the words I want to live by. Loving you is the words that make it right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Did you hear those jazz chords I put in there? It was very subtle. No,
Very
I'm
cool.
kidding.
So let's start at the beginning. You were born and raised in California?
I was a third-generation Californian.
At what age did you find music becoming a major interest
Well,
for you?
I was at my age and my generation. I grew up with all the very, very great rock and roll in 1955. I also was brought up in a house that my mom and dad loved music. They had great taste. They listened to Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Peggy Lee, Frank Sinatra. I mean, they had the right, they always picked the right stuff. So I'm listening to that, but not really totally immersed in it. Rock and roll came, Little Richard, loved him, Elvis, the entire thing. My sister came back from the University of Colorado with a stack of albums, Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, Leadbelly, and the Weavers. I loved that. So I went there and then discovered the New Lost City Ramblers, old-timey music, and then I heard bluegrass, and I just loved it. I thought it was high energy, it was improvisational, it was hillbilly jazz.
So you developed a love for bluegrass music, and you were, at this point, were you playing guitar and mandolin, or was it first mandolin?
I started on guitar, and great story. My mother said, "All right, I'll help you." We went to Tijuana. We were 40 miles north of the border, and we bought a $10 guitar. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. 1960, she said, "If you stick with this, I'll help you get a better guitar." Well, that meant if I earned the money, she might kick in 5%, which she did. And I went into a Goya, funny enough, a Goya gut string guitar. But after discovering bluegrass, I wanted to put steel strings on it. And the guitar turned into the letter C, bent right over. But yeah, then I discovered the mandolin. I learned the mandolin as best I could. I had to find somebody to teach me and all that, you know. So.
Sure. And then your first band, okay, you know, if I could just go looking back, you know, I remember being in school. We were in our first band when I was 10 years old. I'm sure you have a very similar background there, getting a very early start in early bands. What's your first reminiscence of your first band?
Well, I had one fella in high school. There was one or two of us that really liked bluegrass and traditional folk music, and I worked with this one fella as a duet. And I didn't really know how to play the mandolin very well, but we had fun. We sang and did stuff. Then we meet these other two guys that were from San Diego. We lived up in the county, which is a rural part of the area. We meet these other two guys. They're a little older, and one played banjo, one played guitar. And that was where it started. And then I had to move to LA with my mom and sister because my dad had passed away. And then I end up going back down when I turned 18. It was 1962 or 3. And I joined up with these fellows from San Diego, the Scottsville Squirrel Barkers. That was the band name. It was a bluegrass band. And I used a quote from Bernie Ledden, who actually was a squirrel barker who had been in the Eagles and all that. Bernie's a very great old friend of mine. And Bernie said, when we were younger, we played without fear. And you can relate to that because you go into a session, you go, hey, let's go. You know? When you get a little older, you go, what, am I doing the right part? You know? So, and the Beatles came out in February of '64. And I fell into the Byrds. I was very, very lucky. They asked me if I could play the bass. I said yes. I couldn't play the bass. Terrible bass player. I mean, it took me the first album, I think, to figure out something decent. But Roger McGuinn, who you had as a guest, was the best musician in the bunch. He was a fantastic musician. He had been a backup player for so many famous folk groups. And being an accompanist, you really learn how to supplement the song and the lyric and when to play and when not to play. So Roger was really great. So I learned a lot of my bass playing watching Roger. You know, just listen to him. His time was perfect and all that. So.
How about another song?
I didn't keep me quiet yet. Speaking of the Byrds, I'm going to do something. And I wish if you'd like to help me with this, Craig. This is my favorite Byrds song. If you ever hear the very first album we did, which is called Mr. Tambourine Man, this song is on it. It's a song that Pete Seeger took this poem. It was a Welsh poem about a coal mining disaster. He put music to it. And many, many, many people have recorded it. Folk singers. John Denver did a great version. The Byrds did a great version. To me, that was the Byrds song. What really defined the sound. Oh, what would you give me? Say the sad bells of Rimney. Is there hope for the future? Say the brown bells of Merthyr. Who made the mine own? Say the black bells of Rhonda. And who killed the miner? Say the grim bells of Blythe. Throw the Vandals in court. Say the bells of New all will be well if, say the green bells of corn. Why so worried, sisters, why? Say the silver bells of wine. And what will you give me? Say the sad bells of Rimney. Say the sad bells of Rimney. Is there hope for the future? Say the brown bells of Merthyr. Who made the mine owner? Say the black bells of Rhonda. And who killed the miner? Say the grim bells of Blythe. Thank you, folks.
Well, that was a thrill.
I hammered my voice out the last few nights. Forgive me.
I'll tell you what, Chris, I'll never listen to that song the same way again. I'll remember this time I got there was able to perform with you on that song.
That sounded great.
Very
Thank
cool.
you for playing with me.
So you had just begun to talk a little bit about the Byrds. So 1964, you all met up in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And 65, the first record
We
came out?
got very lucky. We got this song Bob Dylan had just written, Mr. Tambourine Man. It had 3 or 4 beautiful verses. Okay. Our manager knew his manager, so Bob gave us permission to record it. Now, in those days, AM radio was predominant. FM rock radio was not really happening yet. Mm-hmm. So you were really under time constraints of 2 minutes, 2 minutes 30 seconds, 2 minutes 40 maybe. It had to be under 3 minutes. We did one verse of Tambourine Man. And interestingly enough, the way we heard, our manager brings us and he says, this is a hit single. Listen to this record. And we listen, we go, we don't like it. Okay, well, Bob had written it in a more of a country vein. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there ain't no place I'm going to. And Roger, in his wisdom, says, we need to make it so you can dance to it. So he changed it into more of a 4. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. And he came up with that great Bach thing, which is really sort of a Bach-inspired run that he starts the song with. So putting it into a different time signature, the kids could dance to it, and it worked. There you have it. But that's originally we heard it. It was like a country song. It was Bob Dylan and Ramblin' Jack with one guitar.
Wow.
It wasn't exactly the Everly Brothers, but it was the other verses are beautiful. And Herb and I sing, we do a couple of the other verses. So.
And in that same year, towards the end of the year, another big hit with Turn, Turn, Turn.
Yeah. And Roger had worked with Judy Collins on an album, and she cut it. And Pete Seeger, once again, had put that together. He'd taken the verses from Ecclesiastes 3, written by King Solomon, and he wrapped it around this chorus, to everything turn, 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 there is a season, turn, turn, turn. But then again goes through pretty much the verses as they were written. He changed a few words. But it's a very interesting song because it's black and white. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap. There was no gray area. And we recorded that song. I think it was the signature Byrds tune too. I mean, that was a huge hit around the world. And it's a great tune. Probably the only song out of the Bible that went to number 1. I mean, I may be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if that we get points for that, but I don't. You know, and it was great. It was a great song. So.
And one more thing about the Byrds. Richie Unterberger, who wrote 8 Miles High, the book, which I collect books on all this, and I love this particular book. But Richie said this about you and the song 8 Miles High. Says, Chris Hillman pushed the song, into gear with a pulverizing, ominous, unaccompanied bass line that remains one of rock's all-time great intros.
Well, that's very nice of him.
Isn't that nice?
It's very nice.
That's pretty awesome.
I have to be honest with you all. We all listened to a lot of John Coltrane. We'd be out on a tour and we'd listen to John Coltrane and Ravi Shankar and just funny stuff. A lot of jazz, Eric Dolphy. And there's a song John did, Love Supreme, and it's like a chant. You know it.
I know the song, sure.
I got that bass idea because it's ba-da, ba-da, a love supreme, a love. So I go, songs climbing the charts, and there was a tip sheet that went out to all the AM radio stations. And this gentleman, all the stations that subscribed to that, picking the songs, this is a good one, good bet, put this on your playlist. 8 Miles High is a drug song. And we're climbing the charts, we're in the 20s. I mean, Big Bullet, and it was gone the next week. And it wasn't a drug song. My God, well, listen to what's out there now. And so, but 8 Miles, I guess because it said high, 8 Miles High. But anyway, it's too bad. I thought that we had really reached a pinnacle with that song. And I always wondered, and in hindsight, you go, well, if we'd have stuck together, the original guys, beyond that song, where would we have gone? Because that was an interesting, going from covering Bob Dylan material to doing 8 Miles High. It was an interesting jump. We learned how to play.
Quite a jump.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little about construction of the guitars, tone woods, what you may look for in a guitar. We're going to discuss that with our good friend and my mentor, internationally renowned guitar expert, Mr. Dick Boak.
So as you can imagine, it's an incredible honor to work with such an iconic artist on the design and construction of a guitar that's going to be special for them and a guitar that they would actually want to use on stage and in the studio. And so when I began working with Chris on this project, he gravitated towards the orchestra model, which is really the sweet spot between small and large guitars. It's got just the right amount of balance between bass and treble response and volume, and has become kind of the quintessential guitar for fingerstyle techniques. This is East Indian rosewood with Adirondack spruce. It's a great combination of tone woods. It's got Chris's signature here, a herringbone rosette, beautiful shaded top. And one of the most interesting aspects is the lasso with the H brand on the headstock. This was designed by our friend Willie Matthews, who is one of the greatest Western artists going. So it's a very, very special project for both Chris and I. And the best part of it is hearing the guitar in his hands.
Thank you, Dick Boak.
Thank you, Dick.
You know, we could stay here. I could talk to you for hours. And I did one time out at Fur Peace Ranch. We did speak for quite a long time, and I was like a kid, wide-eyed, asking all these questions. We really have to hit though the burritos, the Flying Burrito Brothers. At the band after the Birds. Was it immediately after the Birds?
It was immediately after the Birds, and we had hired. The Birds had gotten down to about 1968. It was Roger and I, and everybody had left, and as things happen, and we hired Graham Parsons to be in the band, and he had some great songs he had written, and we hit it off immediately because I was coming out of country music, and Graham loved it too, and we lasted a little while, and then we started the Flying Burrito Brothers, and then Roger went on with the Birds and did quite well. But yeah, the Flying Burrito Brothers, about 1969 we started, yeah.
Now, I didn't know anything about that band, but what made me buy the record was seeing you guys on the front with all wearing the nudie suits, you know, the nudie design suits.
Yeah.
I'm going like, what is this?
What are these guys?
And it's always with me. That record, no matter where I go, I have a CD of that record. I love it.
We had a great time writing the songs, and the one song I will do a little bit of for you, because I know you'd like to hear it, is called Sin City, and Graham and I were living in this house in the San Fernando Valley, and it was 1969, and it just, I started the song, he's asleep in the other room, I said, get up, I got this idea, I got a verse and part of a chorus, and each verse is a little vignette on what was going on, the culture in 1969, it's still relevant today. And it was wrapped around, once again, a chorus about this old earthquake's going to leave me in the poorhouse. Because we were all expecting the giant quake to swallow California, which could happen. I don't know. I'm not going to sit and worry about it, but Sin City is, it's a good one. You know you hit the nail on the head. The song took us 30 minutes to write, and we've had it covered by a lot of people, which is really, I'm flattered. And Dwight Yoakam, Beck, Emmylou Harris, and various people have done Sin City. This old town's been filled with sin. It'll swallow you in if you've got some money to burn. Take it home right away. You've got 3 years to pay. Satan is waiting his turn. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. The scientists say it'll all wash away if we don't believe anymore. 'Cause we've got our recruits and our green mohair suits. So please show your ID at the door. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. You want to play one, Craig? Friend came around, tried to clean up this town. his ideas made some people mad. He trusted his crowd, so he spoke right out loud, and they lost the best friend they had. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. Sin City.
I'm Craig Thatcher, and we'll see you next time on Behind the Guitar.
Bravo.